hat. Die hat aber auch starke Konkurrenz aus Australien. Richtig, die Siegerin aus Lillehammer und die Gewinner der beiden letzten Weltcup, Viererbob. René Spies hat bei der Pressekonferenz gesagt, der Monobob ist ein Einheitssportgerät und da ist Walker sehr stark auch in den vergangenen Jahren und hat auch die erfahrenen Damen Felix, Abraham und Ilana Meyer.
Nothing on the table. Nice into 15. Oh, and very late.
Ja, echt immer klasse, freue mich bei dir. Ja, cool.
IBSF Bob Weltcup in der Frauen-Arena hier in Winterberg. In Kürze wird es losgehen. Wir haben Spurschnitt. Zettel dann sehen, werden wir dann die Damit sehen. Also, jetzt geht's los, Ladies and Gentlemen. Für das Verständnis.
Yeah, like five.
Please.
Bilder aus Winterberg, aus der Perspektive hier bei mir aus der Schwächerkabine. Wir sind die Autokappe hier in der wunderschönen Anlage in Winterberg. Ein Klassiker im Weltcup-Zirkus. Der Weltcup hier in der Arena in der Saison 25, 26.
Winterberg in Germany's Hochsauerland. And what's this up in the sky? Is it the Hunter full moon? No, it's the sun shining down on a very wintry landscape on this Saturday morning. First weekend of the new year, and winter has arrived, hasn't it? Winter was absent in 2025. It has arrived for the new year with a bang, and that is going to be an entertaining added little wrinkle to our women's monobob competition. Now, this Winterberg track is one that you will often bring young athletes to because it is relatively benign, but we're on ice at 130 kilometers an hour. Nothing is safe. To start, quite often you're running into the wind. Down from this short start into the zero curve just. Here's turn one, and then downhill into the omega curve. So here's turn one, the omega curve, turn two. This is over 270 degrees. Two pressure corner, very flat here. Out of three, you actually go uphill. This is not a trick of the light. Over the brow in four, and then you drop down into five. Five is where you start to pick up speed. Listen, accelerating down 3 stories into corner 6, and then the through the Kreisel, turn 7, and into the labyrinth. So corner 8, big corner 9 and 10, and now we're really starting to motor on down through 11 and 12. Vital crossover into 13, and then through corner 14, the final corner. Try not to roll it off the last corner, across the line and up towards the finish area, which, as with everywhere else, is covered in snow, but at least there's not a massive traffic jam in the track. We're going one at a time. So air temperature hovering around -2. It is snowy. The wind luckily has dropped a bit, but it does gust, and that may lead to some strange start times from our athletes. So the monobob competition, as the name suggests, is a driver only, like Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries here. So they push the sled, jump in, drive the sled, and their team members are busy lifting the sled around at the top and at the bottom, but they don't. Alana Myers-Taylor, the oldest athlete in the field at 41 years old, playing up with Melanie Hasler, the antiquity, perhaps. She's anything but an old relic. However, she does have a few back issues that she's going to have to get sorted after this season finishes. So Sarah, fittingly named Blizzard, gets us underway in not quite a blizzard, but certainly in some heavy snow, with Deborah Annan, Georgetta Popescu, and so on down. World champion Keisha Love's in the field, Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries, and silver medalist Alana Myers-Taylor, two-time monobob world champion Lara Nolta. They are all here, and we have an exciting new rookie as Italy returns for the first time in a long while. Getting our Monobob World Cup underway, the first of 2 Australian sleds. Sarah Blizzard, the 29-year-old, second World Cup of the season. She raced in Cortina. She's been picking up points on the junior circuit since then. It's her 10th World Cup start in women's monobob, and she is the first to discover just how snowy it is. 6:16. Well, the start record for monobob, 5:76. So that's 4 tenths away. We're not going to get a new start record today. I'm saying that now. I will, of course, be proven wrong. That's just what life is about. Through these early few corners, up to turn 5, you cannot skid or slide the sled. Otherwise, all the speed you put into it at the start disappears. Down through 5, 6, and through the Kreisel, corner 7. See Sarah sitting nicely back. Just see the hands on the D-rings that control the steering. And out of corner 9, through 10, and a big right-hander at corner 11. 12, 13 crossover, really important for speed to the line, because from here you go uphill through the final corner and flops off 59.97. All right, well, in the words of the great John Morgan, she's our rabbit. She gives us an indication maybe of what the track feels like. But until we've had a few more down, we're not really going to know what's going on. Tessie Johnson, her 2-woman brakeman, helping with the sled at the bottom there. through the Kreisel. Ideally try and keep a nice flat line between those two blue lines that go around the two pressure Kreisel. And that wasn't a bad job. Just get knocked away a little bit into corner 9 rather. No, corner 8 rather. And exit of 9 dropping down here. Well, it really is winter, isn't it, all of a sudden? Next up for Switzerland, Deborah Annan, her 12th World Cup, finished 4th here in the World Cup race last year, just off the podium, equaling her World Cup best. She was 13th in the World Championships in 2024, still really a rookie. Raced here in Europe Cup in December, instead of going to Sigulda. 6:16, all right, exactly the same start time we've just seen. And so that probably means that we weren't seeing weather-affected starts for Sarah or for Deborah, or maybe for both. 100th up. Up and then dropping down into corner 5. Starting to build the speed. Nice exit out of 5 into 6. Don't come too late out of 5. Don't hold the height too long. Not too wavy through the Kreisel. Nice exit as well. Down through corner 8. Building speed again through 9. Little tail skid. Because there's no athlete sitting in the back as there would be in the 2 women race, which will be coming up tomorrow morning. They tend to have narrower runners on the back to give them a bit more grip. Across the line, that's a really nice looking run from Debbie, 59.58. So 3900's up. Her best result on this track, a 4th place finish last year. And that equals her World Cup best, so she'll be aiming to try and get into the top 6, possibly even shoot towards the podium. Just a whisker late there, and the sled flops down onto the ice, and that impact on the ice just takes a bit of energy out of the sled. But not bad at all from Debbie Annan. Next up, Georgeta Popescu for Romania, the 2020 Youth Olympic champion in Monobob. Made her World Cup debut here in January 2023, so 2 seasons ago. Let's see what she's got at the start. 6:16 is the quick start so far. 6:19, not far away. So in the red by 300s from the start, out of corner 2, down through 3, and then uphill towards us, over the brow at 4. And if you're very sideways or even slightly sideways there, the sled will skid. Out of 5, little late out of 5, got onto 6 late and flopped off, tapped before going into 7. Ooh. Maybe a little high on the pressures in the Kreisel. 2/10 back. Sweeping down through the labyrinth, trying to find that speed. Fastest sled, Debbie Annan. 2nd best speed, so a little quicker than Sarah Blizzard. Does she get her at the line? She does. Ties her at the line. So 59.97 for Sarah Blizzard, 59.97 for Georgeta Popescu. Georgeta finished in 24th place in last year's World Cup and 22nd for Sarah Blizzard. So they'll both be looking to break into the top 20 from this field of 27 sleds. Now at the start she rocks right back, but then her feet slip on that plastic block. It's no longer wood because those tend to degrade, but her feet slip back. That's why she had to reset. And all of that just kind of knocks you a little bit out of your rhythm. You have to really, that's that jolt that takes you out of your performance zone. Ooh. Have to reset very quickly. So we've had 1 Swiss slider down, now we get our 2nd. Early start draw for Melly Hasler, silver medalist here last year, the 27-year-old. That remains her best Mono World Cup result. Can she get in among the medals again today? I mean, the answer is yes, she could. Will she? 5:97. Now we're starting to talk about the quicker starters coming in. And Mel really drives the sled beautifully. 2900s up from 1900s at the start, so she got very good velocity as well. And she'll be quicker than Debbie Annan. 3600s up, best speed, 91 kilometers an hour. That's just over 56.5 miles an hour. Takes a while to build speed again after you lose it in the Kreisel. Still doing 56 miles an hour now, accelerating. They'll be doing 130 kilometers an hour down at the bottom, close to 77.8 miles an hour. Debbie Annan was quicker, but the lead for the moment for Melly Hasler, 59.29. So 0.3 ahead of her teammate. Always so full of life. Nice little run there, just got tapped away very slightly. And again, fractionally late exit. It was quite damp and cloudy on the last day of training, so the track's probably running quite a lot faster today. We've had a couple of good overnight freezes. There's our sign-holding superfan behind. And the second of our Aussie athletes, and an absolute medal contender everywhere she goes in the monobob, is Bree Walker. Just back from spending Christmas with her mum and dad in Calgary. They come from Cairns in far north Queensland, where it was knocking on the door of 40 Celsius, to Calgary, where it was down nearly -30. That's quite a temperature change. 5:93, excellent start for Bree Walker, bronze medalist behind Melly Hasler last year. She was 4th in the World Championships in 2024, just missing out on that World Championship podium. Last year, her first women's mono medal on this track. Little late, flopped off 6 into the run to the Kreisel. She got knocked away a little, tap there as well. This is a very un-Bree Walker run, really untidy. Tap there and a skid. She's still quick. Will she have the lead at the line? What's the speed like? 800s back, only the third best speed. It's going to be very close. Melly Hasler might have it. No, 700s in front. Well, that was a really untidy run for Bree Walker. I think more hits on that run than we've seen from anybody else so far. Cara Rodingius, her brake woman, helping at the back with the sled. Well, where to start? I mean, here, very late, right up by the woodwork. Big flop, hits the wood going in, tapped into a skid. Great view of her there in 11, sitting way back, leaning the weight back over that rear axle. Helps get the head out of the slipstream as well, but again, late flop out of the labyrinth.
I'll fix her up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a major restoration project. Bree Walker from Melly Hasler after the first 5 sleds. Here's our world champion in the women's monobob. First race of 2026. Their 4th race will be the Olympic Games. 5:85, big start from Keisha Love. She's one of our real start monsters in the sport. A former Olympic medal winning brake woman. And in the 4 years since Beijing Games, boy, has she become the driver. 800s up at the start, 500s up now from Bree Walker. 6th in the World Championships here, 10th in the World Cup last year though. Best speed. Now everybody here using the same Xcent sled. It's a spec sled, built in Bavaria. Everybody buys it, fixed price. You use your own runners. That means the equipment is very even. And that highlights the driver. 200s up, but only the 6th best speed. She's going to be behind Bree Walker, is she? By a 10th. So that's a 3rd place run from Keisha Love. Well, didn't look as untidy as Bree Walker's run. Coach Tuffy Latour there helping out at the bottom with the sled. Again, great view of her sitting well back. Everybody positions themselves a lot further back than they do in the 2-seat sled, because you don't have to accommodate anybody else. A little late flop, hard take on. This is the transition as they come towards us. And again, you see as you come late off one corner, you're late onto the next. All right, so Keisha Love is down. Our 7th starter is Frenchwoman Margot Bock. 26 years old, finished 18th last year. She was 10th in the World Championship, just did not find that competitive run last season. Bruno Mijon, her coach, on the right of your picture at the back. Max Robert, their physical trainer, was one of Bruno's brakemen. 6:04 getaway. All right, well, she's got the tricky bit out of the way, but a big skid there. She got the tap from 0 down to 1 is really going to cost her. She was 1100s back, now double that, and that will move out to 3/10 adrift because the speed has gone early on. Cardinal sin is to come sideways off 0. She's really going to have to drive well from here on down. She's got a little tap into the Kreisel. Tidier now. She's our 7th sled, but only the 5th best speed. Nice through the labyrinth, up to 4th on the splits. 3rd best speed. Can she overhaul Keisha Love? How close at the line she does. 2900s back. Well, considering that skid off the 0 curve, that was a really well-recovered drive. She's shaking her head. Damn it, that 0 curve, it is so tricky. And it only exists because they built a brand new building at the start. She comes off there late, taps and skids and taps. And then down here, just that little late transition. 6 onto the Kreisel. She comes onto Kreisel a fraction high, doesn't panic, holds the line, and then just releases the sled down into the labyrinth. Nice work from Margot Bock, good recovery. Now then, what about Lara Nolte, our World Cup points leader? She was the world champion on this track 2 seasons ago, one of her 2 World Championship wins. And she is a hot favourite here. Only finished 5th in last year's World Cup race. 2nd fastest start. Same as Bree Walker, nice and smooth early on. Lots of pink hats around the track. That's the Lara Nolte fan club, family and friends, and a whole bunch of other near relatives. 500s in it. Better speed than we saw from Keisha Love. And again, better speed than Melly Hasler, who was the fastest at that stage. Deborah Annan, 2nd sled down, still has the best speed at the bottom. Is Lara Nolte going to take that away? She will do, given her advantage. Yes, she does. 126, 78.4 miles an hour. Big speed advantage and a big time advantage, 58.90. Debbie Levy there watching at the top in the coach's box, applauding that. And that is a good run from Lara Nolte. Really nice looking stuff. Little high maybe on the end of 11. That 11-12 transition, little rocky. Didn't panic, kept it going. See, she comes off late, straight into the wall before you get to 12, but let's go, more to do. Another heat still to come. For Canada, the first of their 3 sleds is Melissa Lotholtz, the 33-year-old former brakewoman, as all 3 of their drivers are. And for Mel, her 13th Mono World Cup start. 14th place in the World Championships, 13th here last year. World Cup best is a 5th place finish in Mono. 5.93, nicely onto 0, just the tiniest tap on the wall. But the same start as we just seen from Lauren Alter. However, she hasn't quite got the velocity, it seems. That little tap, just knocking her back by a couple of hundredths. Now, can she find the speed down the ice? One thing that we saw yesterday in the skeleton race was that right to the end of a 30-strong field, the track was still fast. The sub-zero overnight temperatures are really helping the track hold its shape, hold its speed. Is that going to be the same for the bobsleighs? It should be, certainly early on in the day. 4th best, 1900s back. Oh, a little rocking and rolling again. And 5th best speed, 4th place across the line, 59.30. So 200s ahead of Melissa, 200s ahead of Keisha Love, and 100 behind Melly Hasler in 3rd for Melissa Lotholtz. And a bit of work to do to get the sled to the end. The driver has to put the brakes on themselves as well.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year too. Again, couple of just slightly late transitions. Labyrinth clearly feeling a little faster to the drivers today than it was in training. Looks so dramatic in slow-mo.
Happy New Year, everyone!
At real speed, they're probably barely even noticing it. So from Melissa Lotholtz to Cynthia Appiah, the most experienced driver of the 3, her 29th Mono start. 2 silver, 5 bronze medals in the previous 28 races. 8th and 11th in the World Cups here, 8th in the World Championships. So she'll definitely be looking for a top 10 finish. 5.86, double tap, triple tap. Oh dear, that's going to take speed out of the sled. What was the 2nd fastest start? She was 700s ahead of Nolter. Oh, she's still holding that ahead of Lauren Alter. So those taps perhaps doing little less damage than a skid would have done. Out of 5, smoothly onto 6, little late flop into the Kreisel. Smoothly out of the Kreisel, but now only level with the leader and dropping behind as she sort of waves a little down into corner 9. Out of 11 into 12, into 13, and then onto the final corner. Across the line, 59.15, 2nd place. Nice looking run from Cynthia Appiah. That felt good, clearly. Now those transitions in the labyrinth, when you walk the track, you think, oh, it's a long way. It really isn't. Out of the 0 curve, little tap, little tap, little tap, pinballing down the straight into corner 1, but no skidding. And again here, a little lower down into corner 9. Late exit. She brought it down a fraction too early. Gravity pushing her back up. All right, 10 sleds down. We have a tie for 9th place. Sarah Blisden and Georgetta Popescu, our first 2 sliders, ahead of them, everybody else so far. Now we go to our Olympic champion, Kaylee Humphries. Kaylee in her 20th World Cup start in Mono. Finished 12th here last year. 5.98, 7th fastest start. She's getting those starts closer and closer with every week to where she wants them to be. Didn't compete here last year in the World Cup. Covering from having her baby Alden just over a year ago. Great view of her hands there in the Kreisel. 7th best speed. It's a top 6 run. This is a tight field. 2500s first to second. Can she creep herself up towards the top 3? Flowing nicely down the lower part of the track, and there's the result. 2nd best speed. Might grab a couple of spots at the line. Almost rolls it, but a 59.24. She overhauled a couple down there at the bottom. That high speed that she built through the labyrinth with those clean transitions. 4th place across the line from the 7th best start.
Speed at the bottom. Top speed at the bottom.
Out of 0 again. Just a little pinging from wall to wall. Not as dramatic as Cynthia Appiah. And here in the Kreisel, right between the blue lines. Watch her hands. Holding the steer, now just steering it slightly left to bring it down, and then holding the speed all the way around the final corner. All right, it's 0 curve and 14, a bit of the dramas, isn't it? And all the others in between. 20th World Cup start as well for Katie Bile, 9th here last season. She's had 2 mono medals in the last 2 races. She is absolutely on fire. 591, really starting well. She too pings off the walls from 0 down to 1. 3rd best start, but a couple of hundreds quicker than Lara Nolte. 200s back, and that'll be that little pinball wizard run down to turn 1. Little tap away there as well. Not ideal. Little tap before she gets to Kreisel. Nice exit, maybe a little late flop. 2nd best speed though. Sneaking down through the labyrinth in the top 3 off the 3rd best start. Really nice looking labyrinth, little late there, but carrying the speed into curve 14. Holding it, ducking under the cowl, all the tricks in the trade, 59.08. She's in 2nd behind Lara Nolte and brings the leader's gap from a 1/4 of a second down to 1800s. So she vaults Cynthia Appiah and in 2nd spot at the moment. 0. She got on maybe a little early. Rode up higher than she was expecting. So hard to try and drive around it. You almost always end up skidding. And then down here in the labyrinth, there's one slightly heavy crossover, but she held the speed all the way. So for Germany, Lisa Buchwitz, last year's World Cup champion, winless this season, has not added to her 8 mono victories. She was the winner here last year, one of 4 wins last season. She took bronze in the World Champs the year before. Oh, almost got 0 right, but like a lot of them, she had that double tap. At 5.77, a lot of speed in the sled with the fastest start. Nice, smooth run down to corner 5. Little late off 5. Smooth into the Kreisel, avoids the tap. Driving too much to keep it off the walls. 7th best speed to 5th best speed. The gap is down from 22 to 1100s over Lara Nolte. Sneaks nicely through 10-11. 11-12, 12-13, 13-14. Nice crossovers. Where is the speed? Looks like the runner choice might not have been ideal. She still has the lead. The first sub-59 run, 58.86. The second sub-59 run, Lara Nolte, was a 58.90. So 5.77, the fastest start. Second quickest, Keisha Love, 5.85. Lara Nolte, 5.93. Well, it was untidy, 0 to 1. And a couple of late flops as well. Greetings to the Queen of Winterberg. All right, next up, Alana Myers-Taylor, the Olympic silver medalist, World Championship silver medalist here as well. She was the bronze medalist at home in Lake Placid, behind Keisha Love and Lauren Alter in last year's Worlds. 7th in the World Cup here last season. And Alana, like Kaylee, last year was coming back from childbirth. So a 6 dead start and a bump off the 0. Now that's a run into 0 curve that we haven't seen from anybody else, and it's taken a huge amount of speed out of the sled. Only the 10th spot at the moment. She's our 13th, 14th sled down. And hits 5 into 6. Smoothly out of the Kreisel. Can she do what Kaylee Humphries did and build speed lower down? She absolutely needs to. She's half a second adrift at the moment. Oof. And again, uncomfortable 13 into 14. We're not getting the live speeds off the sled, but they're not enough. 4800s back, 59.34. Lana's not going to be overjoyed with that one. She is 10th at the moment. So 200s behind Keisha Love. And Lorena with the sled at the back. So what happens down here into 0? She gets in, vaults into the seat. Did she have her hands on the D-rings? I'm not sure she did. She did not steer and just the sled drove straight into the wall. I'm not sure that that was what she was thinking of. Some eager Beaver fans here this morning, making it through the monumental traffic jams in town. Next up, 18-year-old Maja Voigt from Denmark, our reigning youth Olympic champion. 17th place here last year. Raced here in Europe Cup in December and January. 5.93. That's a good, strong start. Raced in the Junior Worlds here as well in January 2023. So she's got experience of the track. And being helped out again by the German coaching program. The Danes have hired the Germans to help assist with their development in skeleton and bobsleigh. A little high and late exit from 5. Oh, and a huge skid into the Kreisel. Oh, and a very big late pressure. 6,500s back. I don't know what runners they've got on the back of the sled, but they're not doing the job. The sled is being driven by the back as much as Maja Voigt is driving it at the front. 5th best start. That's a really disappointing run for Maja Voigt. 9th and 6th and 10th and then 21st in Sigulda, but she's been in the top 10 in 3 of the 4 races this season, and that was not a top 10 run. Now the problem is, your runner choice is what your runner choice is. You can't change them and put thinner runners on the back. And it might just be the way that she was entering and exiting the corners, but again, look at that. The back of the sled skidding around, sliding out wide. She's having to fight it every inch of the way. She's not guiding the sled. She's trying to rein it in. And again, very late, right up by the woodwork. Well done in the EBS, guys. That's a lot to get through there. Quick away for Bush, Krista Brzozowski of Canada. Did Europe Cup here in February 2025. That's her only race on this track. Good, strong start, good velocity as well. 4th fastest start, 3rd best velocity. compared to those at the top of the pile. Really limited experience on this track, just one prior race weekend. But it's not showing. This is a nice looking run. Still in the top 6, 11th best speed though. So maybe just overdriving a little. Outthinking herself perhaps, or having to correct. Could be a top 10 run still. And Bouge still learning the track. Shows down there at the labyrinth, coming at her quicker than she was allowing for. 11th at the line, 59.51. So previous World Cup best has been a 10th place finish, and she is just behind Melissa Lottholz, her teammate, by 200s. 200s ahead of Alana Myers-Taylor, 300s behind Melanie Hasler, and she's only 800s behind Kaylee Humphries in 6th. So she's in really illustrious and very experienced company. It's a good run from Bouge. Really starting to develop very well as a driver. This is all looking a little sketchy, probably felt it as well. More in retrospect than at the time. At the time, she's just looking for the next corner. Where am I going to steer? Hasn't yet got that instinctive rhythm of the track. Next up is our third of 3 German drivers. This is Kim Kalicki. The 28-year-old finished 8th in last year's World Cup race. She has had a World Cup medal here. That was back in 2022-23, the first year of World Cup for Monobob. 6 dead start, same as Alana Myers-Taylor. Just the 1 medal to her name. 12th best start, already up to 9th. And this is where knowledge of this track as a German driver is going to be so important. I can remember being here 8 years back maybe now, when Kim Kalicki and Lara Nolte first arrived in the World Cup, and just looking at the way that they flowed down the track so effortlessly. The knowledge is so important here. When everybody else kind of knows the track, those intimacies with the detail and the flow of it really bring the speed. And there you go, 3rd fastest at the bottom, 10th at the line off the 12th best start. Just too little too late down at the bottom. I got you. Again, late height here, right up by the edge of the ice and the woodwork. Flopping off late, hits, gets tapped away into a skid because she's got to steer the sled left towards us. And then in 11, nice line. That's what helps to build the speed. So the first of our 2 Chinese sliders is Wai Mingming, 30 years old, 18th starter. Raced here in the Monobob World Series before the World Cup started 3 years ago, and raced in the first of those World Cups. She finished in 11th place then. Took a year away last year, returning to a family in China. 5.94 start. So 10th best start. Let's see if she can find the rhythm here. It's nicely through 0 and 1. Absolutely flat here through corners 2 and 3, and then uphill into turn 4. Dropping down through corner 5, corkscrewing down the hill into 6, and then to the Kreisel. Starting to build up speed. Up to 8th on the splits, up to 7th on the splits, but the speed is not there. Late exit, gets a little skid going into 11, or in late in 11 as well, brings it down nicely through 12 and 13. Not too bad into 14, little tap away. Top 10 run should be 9th place, 59.32, 100th ahead of Kim Kalicki. And she is tied with Keisha Love. So we have 3 dead heats already. Wai Ming and Keisha Love tied for 9th. Kristen Bujnovsky and Margot Bock tied for 13th. And Sarah Blizzard and Georgetta Popescu tied for 16th. So Wai, like most of them, stepping into the sled. Hasn't yet gone the hands-free vault into the seat. I think that is possibly too high risk for the potential reward. All right, top 10 runs so far, 1 to go. Next up, her teammate, Ying Qing, 28 years of age, the younger of the two. Her 17th World Cup start, finished 10th in the first World Cup here, 14th last year, and in between 15th in the World Championships. Did she get a little, in time? Just wondered if she got a little skid out of the grooves, but she was neatly through 0 and down into 1 and 2. 5.97, a whisker slower than her teammate. And 0.2 slower at the start than Lisa Buchwitz, the current leader. And that gap grows until you start to build speed down through 5, 6, and through the Kreisel. And again, little tail skid coming onto the Kreisel. And again, as she drove the nose down, the tail wanted to continue running up the hill. Only the 16th best speed. She's our 19th sled. Not great top speed. She's not out driving her start. She's slipping away. 15th at the line, 16th at the line, 59.62. So she is behind Debbie Annan and ahead of Sarah Blizzard and Georgetta Popescu.
97. Ready?
Again, a little late out of 5 into 6. And those late transitions follow you down through into the Kreisel. She actually tied it up in the Kreisel, but again, tail of the sled trying to go up the bank as she's trying to hold the nose down, and as she steers off again, the tail of the sled trying to stay up a little higher. So sled 20 in our field of 27 is our Europe Cup champion Inola Blatti of Switzerland. It's only her 5th World Cup. She did win her only Europe Cup race here in February of 2025. Little skid off 0. 15th best start, 6 dead. Now she's going to have to find some speed from that. Been in the top 20 in every race so far this season. 18th in Cortina and Lillehammer. 15th in Innsbruck, 17th in Sigulda. A little tap away, but good speed as she comes down through the labyrinth. So she might click off a couple more. 13th, 14th position over the 15th best speed though. And across the line, 13th place ahead of Bujnovsky and Bock. All right, that might be one of her best runs of the season so far, 59.50. So her World Cup best from Innsbruck, a 15th place finish. Got onto 0 quite hard, quite early, and that sort of ramp up there, if you can imagine doing that on a bicycle, the suspension's compressing, energy involved coming out of the sled. And that little tap as well. All of these tiny little touches just drag speed out of the sled.
Woo, let's go!
Felt good, clearly. So 20 sleds down, 7 to go. The fastest 20 go through. So for everybody else now, it is go fast or go home. Our 21st starter from Great Britain is Adele Nicol. Only raced here in the World Championships. She finished in 9th place. And she's recovering from a really severe knee injury before the season. Bent her knee the wrong way when out sprinting. has not got the speed at the start that she would normally expect. And when you're fighting Lisa Buchwitz, that is a drama. 6:09, so that is one of the slower starts so far. 18th best getaway. Now, the knee does not affect her driving, but not having that speed at the start makes it very hard to be in the top 10 where she wants to be, where she needs to be. Nice line so far. Smoothly through 5. Sounded like the tiniest touch going into the labyrinth, into the Kreisel. And now down through 8 and corner 9. 10th best speed. So she's starting to overhaul some of the sleds that preceded her. And the more sleds she can put behind, the higher up she's likely to finish in the second heat as well. 11th best speed. Decent looking run from Adele Nicol. Hangs it out for the speed at the bottom, but only 16th. Lost a little bit down there at the bottom, 59.55. Well, she is very probably going to make the second heat, ahead of Debbie Annan, Yin Ching, Sarah Blizzard and Georgetta Popescu. And Maya Voigt is out of heat 2. Vaults in. The critical thing is to try and carry that velocity, but also get your hands on the D-rings to make sure you can steer the zero curve. Late out of the final corner, gets bounced off that big hammer of ice there that's built up on the final turn. All right, so next up we have Poland's Linda Wyszewski, the 26-year-old, 19th in the World Championships, 21st, missed the cut in last year's World Cup. Raced here in December last year in Europe Cup, took a silver medal. So she's got good local knowledge, and coming back a few weeks later, she must feel full of confidence. Well, she's made the cut comfortably at every race this season. Should have a decent enough start. Sub-6 will help. 5.99. It's already a 10th ahead of the last sled, Adele Nicol. 14th best start. Now she's got to carry that speed down the track. Nicely out of 3. Smoothly through 4. And then dropping out of 5 into 6. Little late, taps before the Kreisel. Gets on nicely though. Nice even parabola. Maybe a whisker high, but it didn't wave up and down. 16th best speed. She had started to claw her way up the order to 12th place. Now 13th, but that's going to drop. The speed isn't there. Maybe they just haven't got the runners for this colder ice temperature. And across the line, 18th place, 59.60. She's in the second heat at the moment. And Sarah Blizzard and Georgetta Popescu are now tied in 20th place. So they either both get bumped or both stay in. And it's going to be a nervous few minutes. We're here again coming onto the Kreisel, right through those blue lines, and then just driving the sled down, very gently easing it off at the exit. Tiniest of taps there as she sneaks through into the labyrinth. Nice work from Linda Wyszewski, currently in 18th place. So next up for Austria, Lea Hasselwanter, the 26-year-old, raced here in the World Championships, 24th place. Raced in Europe Cup in February last year and in December last month. 6:07. That's going to leave her a little bit on the back foot, and that's going to really nail the coffin lid shut, I think. 19th fastest start, but that huge skid when you're doing no speed at all. Again, think of riding a bicycle. If you're going slowly and you just grab the brake a little bit, it has a much more dramatic effect than if you're going really quickly and just grab the brake a little bit. Out to 20th place, 16th best speed. Let's see if she can find her way back in. 4 more sleds to come after her. So she needs to be 16th or 17th to stand a decent chance. At the moment, she's ahead of Sarah Blizzard and Georgetta Popescu. 16th best speed. Can she climb up the order ahead of Ying Qing? Not quite. But she does come across the line in 20th. Just about the right way up. All right, so she is in the drop zone at the moment. Sarah Blizzard, Georgetta Popescu and Maya Voigt will not get a second heat. Looks like she might be struggling with a little bit of a back injury as well. Got that compression belt on. So they're loading nicely, but late onto 0. Gets a really unfortunate tap, throws her into a big skid. And then, like Adele Nickel, boom, off that big lump of ice at the end.
Happy New Year, everyone!
She's having a terrible time, isn't she? Next up, from the Czech Republic, Patricia Tatnarova. Tatnarova, 22nd in the world, 20th in last year's World Cup. Her World Cup best result. 2 World Cup, Europe Cup races on this track last year as well, including the one in December. So good recent knowledge, and a 5:98 start's got to help. Oh, on the wrong side, coming into 1 as well after that tap and a skid. 13th best start, out to 16th already on the splits. 4/10 back, little late flop as well, off 3. Needs to be really super tidy from here on down to drive herself into the race. Out to 18th. Ooh, little skiddy. Out to 20th, and again, the tail of the sled is doing a lot of the driving here. She's having to fight it. She's making the steers, and then the back is not following the front, and it's very late indeed. She just got away with that. Is she going to make the second heat? She is not. 59.84. Just 200 slower than Leah Hasselvanter. But whoa boy, that was close down there in the labyrinth. Well, she'll be able to come back and try again tomorrow in the women's race. Yikes. Okay, so early height in 11, then the sled climbs, she allows it to. She's almost inverted, late out of 11. Ooh. And then out of 13. Again, it doesn't take much. Lots and lots of young drivers have rolled through there. 3 to go as we get to Belgium's Kelly van Petegem. The 26-year-old, 18th in the World Championships, 16th in last year's World Cup. She raced here in Europe Cup in December. It's only her 2nd World Cup race of the season, in fact. She raced in Cortina, because everybody did, to gain that track knowledge. And then she's been running around, doing lots of other Europe Cup races to try and get the points to qualify for the Games. 6.20 is the start. So 25th at the start. And Kelly needs to find some really smooth lines down the track. It's nice and neat so far. Ooh, little skid through 4. Sixteenth best speed, clawing her way up the ladder. Nice exit. Little tap, but not too much of a drama. Little wavy there. Corner 10, corner 9. And again, transitions are just a fraction late. She's not going to be close enough, I don't think. 21st, 59.84, exactly the same time as Patricia Tatnarova. So she is tied for 21st. Not enough.
Yep.
Another couple of hundreds. to make it into the race. Well, there's no guarantee that Lea Hasselvanter will be in the top 20 at the end of the first heat. Only 2 sleds to go there, and the options are getting a little better. Kelly van Petegem, any one of these tiny errors hadn't been quite as significant, she would have been in 20th place. Such a tough track to make a difference on this one. And now we have 2 sleds to go, and our first of 2 Italian drivers is a brand new rookie, Simona Di Silvestro. So Swiss and Italian heritage. She's a former IndyCar single-seater racer. She raced in the Indianapolis 500. She's raced in Formula E. She's tested Formula 1 cars. And then she decided she wanted to go to the Olympics in Cortina, and she found bobsleigh. 6:27 getaway. She makes her World Cup debut here in 2026. Nice smooth run so far. But that speed at the start is going to be the bugbear here. 10th best speed coming down into the Kreisel. She knows how to drive. Boy, does she. You don't accidentally qualify for the Indy 500 on numerous occasions. You don't get to race as a professional single-seater driver on numerous occasions without knowing how to drive. 8th best speed. Is she going to make the second heat? This could be close. Not enough. 59.88. Well, been waiting to see Simona Di Silvestro turn up in the World Cup. Been watching her, learning her craft via the results in Europe Cup over the last couple of seasons. Out of 0, takes the tiny little tap, but that skid, that was enough to deny her a second heat, as it turns out. Talked to her a little before the race about the similarities between driving a race car and driving these things. There are some similarities, but it's a whole lot to learn. I mean, you don't have to push the race car yourself for a start. And finally, welcome back, Giada Andreucci of Italy. Only her 4th Monobob World Cup. She's done 2 Europe Cup races here. It's her first Mono World Cup since Innsbruck in December 2023. Let's see what she's got for us today. In silky smooth, nice load. Not the best speed, but a really good load, and comes pretty straight out of 0. Now she is going to have to really build speed down the track to try and make the second heat. 8/10 back, still 27th on the splits. Nice smooth lines though. Building speed through 5. Nice and clean down to the Kreisel. Is she having to steer too much? See how wide apart her hands are? Some drivers, most drivers, have their knuckles pretty much together. Hers are out by her knees. Still in 27th on the splits. She hasn't got the speed coming down into the labyrinth, and the late flops are taking some of the speed out of the sled. So Giada Andreucci is not going to make the second heat. It's a 60.24 run. So she will be watching the second heat from the sidelines, along with Maya Voigt, Georgetta Popescu, Sarah Blizzard, Simona Di Silvestro, and Patricia Tanirova and Kelly van Petegem. So Lea Hasselvanter hangs on in 20th place, but delighted to see Italy back in mono and women's bob. Great to see Giada Andreucci returning to the World Cup fold after a couple of years away. I'm delighted to have Simona Di Silvestro finally making her debut on the big stage. All right, women's race tomorrow. Let's see what that brings for them all. And in terms of the weather, who has the faintest clue? But at the top of the pile, it is the winless Lisa Buchwitz, our reigning World Cup champion. She is leading the first heat. So, is she going to be up front? Or are we going to find challengers coming together? Lisa Buchwitz leads by just 400s. It looks like a two-horse race for gold, but behind, Catty Barr's got company from Cynthia Appiah. Can Cynthia grab her first medal here? What about Bree Walker and Kaylee Humphries? Not out of contention yet. And some massive tussles further back. Not just the dead heats, but look at how close some of the margins are. 100th here, 200s there. As ever here, it is going to be a very tight race for Heat 2. So join us for the second heat here in Winterberg. We'll be coming up at 1300 local, 12 GMT, and that is 0700 Eastern. We'll be back with the second heat of the Women's Mono World Cup. We will see you in a little over 30 minutes.
Und wir werden aber trotzdem für zum Filmabschluss der Position oder wir gehen raus zu den Legenden in der Landschaft. Toni Kaufmann und Jürgen Ballers. Die sind die Fetschensfäden. Ja, sicher, das geht. Ja, und jetzt mal ein herzliches Hallo hier von uns aus dem Feldungskreise. Wir schicken mal so einen kleinen begeisterten Applaus runter in die Zielarena zum Bobsleigh. Herzlich willkommen auch hier an diesem Wochenende. Wobei, du bist ja gestern schon da gewesen, du hast ja gestern schon gekämpft. Also, das macht